Hey, I'm DaleDuo.
And I'm Mr. DaleDuo.
And welcome to the DaleDuo XP, where we share about our relationship and life experience.
And teach you how to gain more life XP.
Happy Thanksgiving week!
Happy turkey time!
The turkeys are out.
They're gobbling.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobbling and wobbling to the table.
And into my stomach. Well, it is Thanksgiving week. For those of you that are in the America, we are celebrating the thanks and the giving.
Yep.
And the pilgrims.
And the Indians.
And the Indians.
Woo!
Woo!
I'm offended.
Oh no. Gilbert, you're like what? Like not even like a quarter?
1/8.
1/8?
No, Dad's 1/8. I'm 1/16.
You're 1/16 Native American.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if my
That's enough for me.
offended you.
That's enough for me. I'm gonna go ride a horse bareback after this and tackle a bear.
Wow, that's great. But today we're talking about holidays and
Traditions.
and the thing.
Family.
Yeah, family.
And combinations and figuring all that out and what we do and stuff.
Funnily enough, I've had a lot of conversations with my friends.
Funnily?
Funnily is a...
Funny enough. Not funnily enough.
Funnily is a word. Funnily enough, you say...
No, funny enough. Not funnily enough.
No way.
It's funny enough.
No.
Funny enough.
No, funnily.
Absolutely
Funnily
not.
enough.
No, funny enough.
Chat, I need a poll. Am I right? Or is Gilbert right? And that
We all know the answer.
I'm probably wrong. The other night they made fun of me the way I say brewery.
Yeah, I heard it. Brewery.
Brewery is, how do you say it?
Brewery.
Brewery.
I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Yeah,
brewery.
They want you to say brewery. Brewery.
No, when you combine brew and uri, the place of brew.
The place of brew.
It shortens it. Brewery.
Brewery.
Yeah.
There we have it, folks. So funnily enough, I've had some conversations with some of my girlfriends that recently got married or have only been married a few years. I'm talking about how it can be difficult after you get married, when the holidays roll around, how to evenly distribute time between both families.
Correct.
So...
And we had to figure that out too, because one family expects you to be there Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, and when you tell them, well, I might actually go over here, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Okay, well then how do we, which family's bigger, because you can't move the big family gathering, but maybe if one's smaller, it can adjust a little, but we figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're able to get together with your family, it doesn't matter if it's on the day or the next weekend. And that was something that both our families had to kind of come to terms with, is that they may not get us on the exact holiday and kind of
That's
had to...
okay.
And, it is okay.
The same traditions can still happen, or you can make new ones, which we have. We even combined families. If we can, we like around Christmas time, we like to bring all of her side and her grandparents to my family, or vice versa, and have a big food and stuff. So that's been a new one.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And those gatherings are extra special. I think we both agree that we lucked out and we married into really great families. I mean, both sides. That's a
disclaimer for our story, I mean, both of us have parents that are still together and have been together, for many, many years. Our grandparents are the same, and thankfully they love each other. Her family loves my family. My family has so much respect for hers, so we have no problem compromising, adjusting holidays, making them fit. I
will say, after we first got married, though, your mom was pretty mad when I stole you away for one holiday.
Yeah, mom is probably the most emotional, and she kind of had to figure that out. But really, after the first year, she's like, okay, I get it. Yeah. She still gets time with us. I think it's still special.
We just had to show, we're not abandoning you.
Yeah.
We just have to divide our time as evenly as possible.
Yeah, and the next year might look different.
Yeah.
For the most part, it stays the same, but now we kind of got into a rhythm.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about what we did individually and then kind of how we merged together.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. I'll just talk about, so I have family on my dad's side in Virginia. My dad was born and raised in Virginia. So I've got my grandpa, I've got aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. And every year we trade off meeting up together in Virginia on either Thanksgiving or Christmas. So, for instance, this year we're going for Christmas, and next year we'll go for Thanksgiving. And so that has always been the tradition for my family. And then always my mom's side of the family is in Texas, here, not far from us, in the small town where I grew up. And so we would always be with them on all the other holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, depending on what flip flop year we were on. So like Christmas, if we were in Virginia, we would have like a Christmas before we left for Virginia. That makes sense. And
but the biggest portion of your family was the Virginia one. Like your mom's an only child, so it's just your mom, dad, and your grandparents out there, which made them very flexible when it came time.
Yeah, I only have the most of my family is on my dad's side, aunts, uncles, cousins, but then I have some cousins that and an uncle and aunt in Florida, and so they meet us in Virginia and that sort of stuff. So it's just easier because the majority of them are in Virginia, and it's just so beautiful up there. It's just so beautiful up there. So we would always make a vacation out of it with my family to go there every year, and that's when we would get to see our family.
Yep.
So talk about what you do.
Well, mine's pretty simple. My grandparents on mom's side passed away when I was young, so that side of the family just kind of stopped gathering together. Everybody went all over the U.S. pretty much, and we're not super close. So for the most part, we've got like my immediate family, mom, dad, sister, and now brother-in-law, and then we've got dad's side of the family. My grandparents are still alive on his side, and that's huge. I've got 3 uncles, 2 aunts that are his siblings, and then they've had tons of kids. And now their kids are having kids. So like we can get 60, 70 people packed into their little ranch house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that was always the thing. On Thanksgiving Day, we'd go out to Granny and Pops, we call them. Everybody'd be out there, we'd eat big. And then on Christmas Eve is when we would have the big Christmas out there so that everybody could be with their immediate family for Christmas Day. But the good part is, like, Christmas was always tough because, I don't know, like half of my family is involved in ministry or church stuff in some way. They're musicians, they're preachers, they're, choir directors, you name it. And so Christmas Eve is always like a little bit thinner because people have church responsibilities, which is a big thing that we do. So she's usually singing or doing something on Christmas Eve, which means sometimes we have to tell them, it'll just be me or we both doing something. And they've been okay. They hate that we can't be there, but they've been okay with it. But I was a little skeptical at first, but I was pulled into this Virginia every year tradition. And at first I was like, okay, I want to go to Virginia once, meet everybody, see everything. But then like, I don't know if I'm going to pay for flights and hotels and stuff every year. That just seems like a lot. And you're gone for a long time, taking off of work and all that stuff. But I love it. I mean, Virginia is incredible. It's beautiful. The people up there are super nice, and we always get to go see a ton of history. It seems like we see something a little bit new every time.
Yeah.
And her family's a lot of fun to hang out with. So now I've just kind of adopted that tradition too, and so has Spencer, your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And so that's been a ton of fun.
Yeah. And then the exact same thing with me is I've been roped into the Oklahoma crew.
Yeah, the big side.
And so we always make an effort to go out there, and it's very different. It's extremely different from what I grew up with because it's literally on a farm. Like, in the middle of nowhere.
My family's very country.
They're very hick. I'm going to say hick.
Yeah.
They have thicker accents than we do, which some of you guys can't even fathom that.
I'm talking about running cattle, horses, rodeoing,
Chickens.
hog hunting with dogs, like everything, which is how I grew up too. So
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I love it out there. But
And so he gets to share with me how he grew up, his Christmases, how he would wake up,
yep.
Christmas morning or what they would do Christmas Eve. And they have traditions of going to look at Christmas lights and things like that. And so I just
we used
kind
to
of
go see a movie on Christmas Day with my parents to go see a movie in that afternoon. Now we're usually every other year we're flying out to Virginia. So
we did some movies though a few times.
Yeah. It's really cool, and they love her. Oh my gosh! Now they'd rather her come than me. But I think it's because like early in our marriage, you came and sang for everyone, and now my grandmother every year is like, "Are you gonna sing us something?"
And I always do. When they ask me to. But definitely as someone who works in a church and is heavily involved in church, especially like singing and using my gift, that does make it very difficult around the holidays because Christmas is the
big
biggest
church time.
It's like
and Easter. Oh gosh, there's also Easter.
Yeah, Easter, which is like the Super Bowl for the church.
Yeah.
That's when everybody comes.
That holiday is easy for our families, I think. I mean, your side doesn't do much besides church.
My side of the family, my dad's a pastor, and so they're all tied up with their own services.
We go back out to Oklahoma with the big side and all the grandkids
for Easter.
They've got all this land and woods and everything, so we'll go hide eggs for the kids and they get to hunt and we eat a lot of Mexican food or something.
Yeah. That is something that's good that we had in common already in place with our traditions is church. We always go to church. Of course, we go to church every Sunday, but especially with our family for Christmas. And that sort of thing.
We both volunteer and like find things to get plugged into. So it was already kind of expected when we hit holidays, like, okay, what's on the church calendar?
Yeah. Like we're going
that wasn't a struggle for us at all.
We're going to our church's Christmas program and I'm probably singing in it. I am singing in it this year.
Yeah. But our parents do too. Like my parents go to a different church and they have to be there for the Christmas Eve service or Christmas. I don't know. It's so big. They have multiple days of Christmas services. They go to one of those with their life groups and stuff. So everybody has that expectation. There's absolutely no problem there. But at first, I guess maybe it was when we were engaged was when we started like being expected at each other's holidays.
Right.
And we had to figure out like, okay, well, that day is the Oklahoma day. So it's going to be easier to talk to your parents and grandparents and see if we can adjust a little because my family's so big, they're not going to move,
Yeah.
So we had to figure that out. And it was easy. Now every year, gosh, your sister's in San Antonio, being a doctor.
Yeah.
And like everyone's all over the place. Every year we have to sit down and go, okay, when are we going to go see your parents and grandparents? And thankfully they're really flexible, so it usually works out.
I will say this year has been one of the most difficult years to get our plans nailed down, mainly because my sister is in her residency and she doesn't get much time off at all. And so it's been a real struggle. Like she does not get any time off for Thanksgiving. So that's why this week I'm going to be traveling to San Antonio to spend time with her and her husband, but he has to stay here and work.
Yep.
And then we're going to go to Oklahoma Thanksgiving Day. And then we're going to go to my parents and grandparents here in Texas.
Yeah, lots of driving.
So
lots of traveling.
It's going to be a lot, but I think something important to learn if you're dating someone or you're thinking about, what you're going to do when you're married, it's all compromise and you want to try to spread out the time as much as possible because family is so important.
Yeah. And holidays aren't supposed to be stressful. Like,
no.
You're supposed to be relaxing and taking the moment, to really cherish your time with family because gosh, it's changed so fast just in the time we've been together, let alone over our lifetimes, It changes so fast. Family members, pass on, new family members show up, and those are the times when you really make memories. And so being with another person and getting to figure out the holidays is like it should be a joy, not a
Yeah.
job. It should be a joy because you're getting to set up new memories and share what you know and what you've grown up to love with that other person. It's not like a demanding thing. Like, no, you have to give up all of your stuff and do my stuff. That's
Yeah.
not doesn't make holidays fun.
No. You're sharing your memories, like your childhood memories, but you're also making new ones. You're making new memories with your spouse and making your own traditions. So, like, we made a point that we always want to have our own Christmas. It
Yeah.
may not be on Christmas, but yeah, just the two of
Sometime in
us.
December.
Yeah, sometime it may be a few days before, it may be a few days after. Sometime just the two of us to wake up like it's Christmas morning. We like to put on the Hallmark
The little animals.
dogs.
Little,
Yeah.
or pigs or whatever they bring out.
It's
Yeah.
on YouTube. It's like the Hallmark Yule log.
Yeah, I think they make a new one every year.
Well, they did for a time and then
did?
they stopped.
Oh.
But there was like this little dog and we would
And a
watch it
cat.
every year and then the dog disappeared. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I miss the dog. But it's super cute. I highly recommend it. It's on YouTube. Just look it up. Hallmark Yule log with the animals and it's so cute. And so we'll play that and we'll open our gifts.
Yep.
And then we'll make breakfast together. We'll drink our coffee and
Clean up and stuff.
clean up and then get ready for whatever else we have planned for that day. And
Yeah.
it's super fun.
But like I was saying earlier, we've had to combine sometimes. I mean, there's been holidays or particular months that have just been so busy that we're like, okay, there's no possible way for us to separately have my side and your side events. So let's talk to both of them and just put them together. And we've done
Yeah.
that before. And thankfully, our parents love it. Like my parents even flew out to Virginia with us one holiday because my mom's a big history nerd. So they wanted to see all the cool old history stuff and the beautiful landscaping, and they loved it. They want to come back sometime. They had a blast. And thankfully, we're in the position where, like I said, our families just love each other. So much so that if you show up once, they're going to expect you
You got to come back.
every year. Yeah. Yeah. But now we understand too, not every family has that luxury. I mean, I've got a close friend of mine from college who got married, and his family did not really get along with his wife, and they weren't happy with his decision for whatever reason. But those two are mature enough to figure out how to continue to have their holidays, whether it was just by themselves or with the one side of the family that was cordial, you know. Sometimes those can be difficult decisions. And we thankfully haven't had to have those, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah, and I think that it does play into, when you are dating and looking for a spouse to look at their family,
Yep.
look at their family
Yep.
dynamic. I've always been told, and you've been taught the same thing. You look for a man, I was taught by my dad, look for a man who loves his mother. Because if he loves his mom and the way he loves her and treats her and cares for her, that's how he is going to care for you. And that's how he is going to treat you. And your dad taught you something similar, right?
Yeah, he told me to look at the mother, to look at the lady's mother and see how she loves, see how she serves, see how she is with guests or in public, and how she carries herself. Because, not stereotyping, but a lot of people become their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Not just women, people become their parents. I mean, I'm like an almost copy and paste of my dad. So, that's just a good example. Thankfully for her, I not only could see her amazing mother, but her grandmother, and they're just the most elegant, professional women, and so classy. They love so much. They would give their own shirt off their back. I mean, they just love to serve. And so it was like, okay, I'm gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
But it's been a joy to combine our holidays, our traditions, make new ones.
We've even combined not just our families, but with my sister's husband's family.
Yes.
So
3 families.
3 families all together. I think we did like breakfast for dinner one Christmas.
Yeah. And we played some games.
We played games. We had a ball. We did a few gifts, but not a ton of gifts. And man, we just had a blast.
It helped that her brother-in-law's parents go to the same church as my parents,
Yeah,
so
so
they
they
know
know
each
each
other.
other.
They've been in church together. So we were like, yeah, we'll just put everybody together and do an event, and it was great.
And we haven't been able to get them all together in a while, mainly because my sister's schedule
Yeah,
being in
yeah,
residency and just not being able to get together. But hopefully, when she's done with her residency, we can do that again. I think it's good to just have a mindset whenever you're in marriage, trying to figure out your holidays. More the merrier,
yeah.
you know?
And flexibility too. I mean, there was an expectation, especially with my side of the family in Oklahoma. Anytime a man takes a spouse, you're expected to be there and
And
bring the
bring.
new spouse into the family, especially for the men. That was the expectation. Your new spouse is now part of the family. She comes along, and I expressed that to her simply, early on. Hey, in my family, the guys bring their women in, and I will need to do that. I will need to present you as part of the family. And she was like, great, that sounds awesome.
It's kind of like a rite of passage.
Yeah, yeah. It's just something that's kind of always been in the
Hmm.
Dale family. But we had no issue making that happen, and I was flexible. I gave up, holidays with my family to get on a plane and go to Virginia and meet everybody.
Yeah, it's true. And your mother was not happy with me.
No, for 1 year,
But
for 1 year, but then she
she
was fine.
understood.
Yeah,
And that's what I want to say is also it's okay to grieve the loss, in a
yeah.
way.
If that's the right word, it's
Well,
okay to be bummed.
it's okay. Well, I think it's okay because coming from someone who's more emotional, you probably don't understand this
Yeah,
a whole lot because you're not attached to memories like I am. Like I'm attached to memories and traditions emotionally, and he is able to just cut it off and be fine. And that's great. I
well, I
like
have no problem accepting
change.
change,
Yeah,
I guess, kind of to a degree. I just am fully aware and realistic enough to know, okay, at each stage of life, holidays are going to look
look
different.
different.
When we get married, new traditions, new holidays,
Hmm.
everything's going to feel different. One day when we have kiddos around, oh gosh, like holidays are not even going to be the same
Not
anymore.
at all.
So, that stuff just changes.
Yeah, I'd say exactly that you need to be okay with change. Things are going to change, but it's okay to be like, oh, I miss when we did this,
Yeah.
and you can always bring it back, those things that you miss. And so, like, it's okay for his mom to be like, aw, and as the spouse, you need to understand that. You need
Yeah.
to be understanding of the family and don't cause a big fuss like we're married now so he's mine, like that is not the way you need to handle it, and you hope that they're understanding too. And if they're not, then you have a mature adult conversation about how we're married, we have two families, and we have to compromise and we have to share our time you know
Yeah, we take a very biblical stance, I guess, to it, which is that a man leaves his father and mother and establishes himself with the wife, and that be creates a new family, separate. It doesn't mean like you're now an attachment to mine or
Mm-hmm.
I'm now just an extension of yours. No, it's a totally new entity, a new
Yes.
household, a new family, which means ultimately we can do whatever we want on holidays because we're setting up our own new traditions and standards. It doesn't mean we have to be at one or the other, but it means we have the opportunity to make the decision to bless others with our presence. But I think mom was okay, probably because we figured out a way to prioritize being with them on Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing she wanted was for everyone to wake up in her house and on Christmas morning and to have coffee and open presents and eat breakfast. And thankfully, we've been able to do that
Mm-hmm.
each year. It's pretty easy to schedule our trip to Virginia just like that same day. Like we're flying out at 7 p.m. that same day. Or, you know, Christmas with your side out in East Texas on a different day. Hasn't been a problem at all. And so that's probably why mom's been
Yeah.
pretty chill with everything else.
And I think it's that we communicated, what's the most important thing to you? And she
Yeah.
told us,
Yeah.
well, as long as you're here Christmas morning, that's
Right.
really what I want. And that's what meant a lot to her.
And the same for
And
your
then,
side
yeah,
was
and
Virginia.
yeah, when I communicated to my family, it's we want you in Virginia when we go, and we'd want a time with you, just the two of you and my sister and her husband all together.
Just for a meal.
For a meal, to have our, traditions. We read the Christmas story. We sing hymns and Christmas songs.
Spencer might play a little saxophone.
Spencer plays the saxophone. Sometimes I break out my violin or my guitar.
Yeah. But we also communicated with them really early on. I mean, we got married super young in college. We had no money.
Nothing.
We had no money. So we were like, y'all got to understand, we can't afford to get plane tickets, hotels, food, all that stuff every single year.
Yeah.
To go out to Virginia. There may be times when we just can't do it. And there's been years when only you've gone. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was like maybe the second
probably when
year.
we were engaged. I don't know when we were married though.
No, I think ever since we've been married, we've gone every year together.
But early on when we didn't have any money.
There was one year I had to go by myself.
Your dad would help out.
Oh, it was when we were still in school.
Yeah.
It was when we were still in school, and you had to do some Army ROTC.
Oh, Thanksgiving. I had FTX.
Yes.
I was training in the field.
Yes.
When y'all were gonna go out there.
And so he couldn't get out of that, and also we couldn't afford it, and so
it was kind of okay because I didn't want to pay,
But I think ever since then we've gone together every year, and now we both are adults and have full-time salary jobs.
That was kind of cool. That was really cool because like early on, like we said, we didn't have any money. There was a year or two that your dad pitched in and helped with our hotel or flights, whatever. Or my parents would have extra like
points,
card points, and we could grab flights with those.
We love points.
And then finally there just came a year when we both finally had good paying jobs that we were like, we got this. We'll be there.
We can pay for it all ourselves, you know? And that's a big deal. And now it's like...
It's special to them too, because they know we're taking the time off work. We're putting in our own money and time and finding a way to make it happen with that side of the family. Yeah.
The hardest thing is, I would say, for me, buying presents for everybody.
That gets kind of old.
It gets a lot. It's a lot. And now Gilbert's little sister just got married, and so we gotta buy presents for him. We're not complaining. I love to give gifts. But sometimes I struggle because I don't know what to get them, and then I don't know, like, it's a lot of money to spend on somebody.
The older you get, this time of year just gets so expensive.
Yeah. So we've kind of done a tradition where my cousins, because like I said, I've got a ton of cousins up in Virginia. We've always done like a secret Santa where you draw names and you have just one person. But as I've gotten older, it's like, do they expect me to buy presents for all my aunts and uncles? Because that's a lot.
Nah.
Like, I have 2 aunts and an uncle, and then their spouses, and then my cousins, and then all your family.
No, we don't do that. My family's way bigger.
But you guys do a white elephant.
But we do. All the adults do a white elephant, or we call it Dirty Santa because it can get It can get pranky.
Get dirty.
That can be silly. But
wasn't there like a breast implant?
No, it was like a plastic thing you could wear,
like over your nipples,
boobas or something. Somebody played a joke. There's been like fake dirty underwear or like that poop soap.
There was one, like a double person underwear. Like it was underwear you're supposed to both of you wear.
For 2 people. Yeah, just stupid stuff. There's always one crazy gift.
But it usually has like a gift card. Like if it's something stupid,
and
it's
adults only.
Card.
It's adults only.
No kids.
All the kids get a little gift from, and I did this too growing up. They get a stocking and a little gift from Granny and Pop, which they shouldn't be doing that because there's so many of them. Yeah. And then they do a drawing thing. The kids draw for each other to see which cousin they're buying for, and then all the adults bring the Dirty Santa gift. So
yeah. So anyway, guys, let us know what your holiday traditions are, what they look like. And, if you're trying to figure out how to split up that time with your significant other and you want us to discuss it, let us know in the comments or you can DM me. But since it's Thanksgiving week, let's end by saying one thing that we're thankful for.
Okay, then you start.
You start.
No, you.
Oh, a star?
Is there a time limit on this? Like from the year or like forever?
Yeah, the whole year.
This year?
From this year. What is the most number one thing that you're thankful for?
Number one? It can't be like two number ones.
You can give a few. You can give a few.
Well, there's two number ones that come to mind. First, well, I guess it happened last year, but I found out this year. I officially got out of the military, got out of the army. I'm done. Done talking with them. So that was one thing. That was a huge weight off my chest. And then also my new job.
Yeah.
Like I was, for years, I had never worked a job I liked ever. And I was miserable. I had horrible managers. For the last however long, majority of 4 years since we graduated, it's been garbage jobs. And for the first time ever, I got one where the people are amazing. The work is fun. We're making pretty good compensation, and it's flexible. They're super flexible. So I'm like, I work hybrid role. I can be at home a lot. And it's just been, I mean, you could tell, like, my mood's so much better. My mind is so much better. Like, I'm healthier than I've ever been. I've got some injuries, but like I'm at my best physical, mental, and spiritual health probably ever.
Yeah.
Because I was able to get out of bad situations and around good people. So that's my big thing.
Yeah, I totally ditto that. I am so thankful for
made a big difference.
Both of those things for you, because as your wife, that was just something that I had been praying for. And so my number one thing is I'm just so thankful to the Lord for He has heard my prayers and answered in such clear, distinct ways this year.
Yeah.
And those are two very clear, distinct ways that God has just answered prayers that I've been just pouring out my heart with Him. Also, I'm super thankful for my family's health. My Nan had lung cancer this year. She had to have radiation. She fell and broke her hip, and we just had a lot of scares with her. And so I'm just so thankful that she's doing better now. And she came to your sister's wedding and had a good time. And my grandfather, he's doing great. He was out on the dance floor.
And they're older too, but they are just lively and stubborn. I mean, they don't go down without a fight. So.
And my dad, he was diagnosed with diabetes this year, and
he's changed things up.
Completely turned around.
Lost some weight. He's been great.
Yeah, his diet is great. He's lost weight. He's healthier.
He finished his new house.
My parents,
finally, after like what, 2.5 years? My gosh,
that house took way too long. And just my family's health. I'm thankful. My pawpaw in Virginia is doing good.
Yeah.
We lost my grandmother.
Last year.
I guess it'll be 2 years this Christmas without her. And so, she had dementia, and it was really hard. But now that she's gone, your grandfather's
doing so well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
not that it's a good thing that she's gone. Obviously, we miss her, but the Lord did bless my pawpaw, because now my pawpaw can live his life.
Oh yeah, he's going to hang out with buddies and doing church events
and helping people with stuff. My pawpaw's a servant. He's just he'll fix if you got something at the house that needs to be fixed. He's gonna fix it for you. And so those are my things. So anyway, let us know what you're thankful for. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the things.
And keep your eye out for the next one.
Yeah.
I guess in 2 weeks.
Hopefully. Christmas time, it's getting wild.
I think we can squeeze the next one in before
the holidays.
The crazy, but we'll see.
But you guys stay tuned, because 2025 is going to be the best year for DaleDuo. The duos, both of us. A lot of great things ahead. So, love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.